Let us now in this moment close our eyes and co-create a sacred space, like a room or a nest. In this space there are no boundaries, yet we feel safe and held. In this space is a calm, despite all that is going on beyond. Were there something to puncture the calm by one of us or from beyond this energetic, what would you do? React or respond? Our gathering provides us ongoing opportunity to take responsibility, to respond by addressing the things we find intolerable. So, rather than reacting with an emotional charge that may incite a battle or hostility, we respond. Just as emergency responders prepare and come to the aid of others in distress, so do we. Rather than reacting, they are responding to what is needed. Let us view all that we do as just that, a response to injustice. We know there are things we cannot do, certainly not alone, but as an assembly of people, we are grateful for our unity and ability to respond, to see and feel that what may seem to be personal issues are issues we can address for the greater whole. We feel gratitude in our responsibility, and we are grateful to know that we are doing all this with the guidance of our Creator of all that is. In the name of our Creator, let it be so.
And so it is. Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm talking to you about Grand Jury 9.1. I don't know how many grand juries other jural assemblies on other states have had, but we've had 9. And in number 9, we had 10 presentments before the grand jury. And the first presentment in our 9th grand jury was the one I'm going to talk about now and read. William's going to print it, but there it is in all its prettiness. It is a well done document, looks good. Number 1, statement regarding the Oregon Department of Corrections, ODOC, et al. A preponderance of evidence is provided by our court's investigators regarding the following persons known as Michael Reese, Ken Jeske, and Corey Fuhrer of the Oregon Department of Corrections. On July 9th, on July 9th, 2024 AD, 8 members of our civilian common law court of record delivered a writ of habeas corpus ad subjiciendum to the office of the Director of Corrections. Our contingent then traveled to the Oregon State Penitentiary and delivered the same document. The purpose was to lawfully extricate and get necessary proper medical care for David Anthony Coolidge. We were refused and excluded from the facilities. On July 24th, 6 members of our civilian court of record made a second trip to Salem. We served a writ of mandamus to the same entities for failure to respond appropriately to the writ of habeas corpus. There are no lawful options for a refusal of a writ of habeas corpus ad subjiciendum and a writ of mandamus. By their failure to honor their responsibilities, they have no honor and they may not hold a position of trust. They must resign from their jobs immediately and not draw further remuneration. That was presented to the grand jury, and the grand jury all signed one of these, like I did, and each one is witnessed by two witnesses. And the grand jury spoke. Those three men have to be tried in an Article 3, Amendment 7, Civilian Court of Record. And it happens to be the Supreme Court on Oregon. It's the only de jure court there is. Every other court on Oregon has failed to meet the standards of a court. They all fail. They're all de facto. For-profit corporations. There's all kinds of stuff going on. But they can't fulfill their obligations, their responsibilities. It goes like this from a long time ago, before we had the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. Before we had that, we had common law, American common law. And there was writs of habeas corpus. Show me the body. Bring that man you have detained unlawfully or illegitimately out of your jail. That's a personal demand by a court to the jailer, to the person responsible for the keys that is keeping that man in prison. That's all. And it's got to be honored. And they wrote it into our founding documents. So, golly whiz, that's how it's supposed to be. That's due process. When you have due process, things work properly. If you don't have due process, things don't. So a writ of habeas corpus was ignored by three executives of Department of Corrections. So our court came back and we brought a writ of mandamus with us. One of our members wrote to, I think it was the Department of State, and asked the specific question, when was the last time a writ of habeas corpus was presented to any jailer on Oregon? And they responded within their 5-day period that they hadn't had enough time to find that answer yet. I'll bet it's zero. So, of all the things we have to do, is we have to take care of our own. And David is one of us. He's a man on the land and soil of Oregon that was improperly tried, his rights dashed upon the ground. Our court's rights were dashed upon the ground. They had all the guns in court, and we were there, and we couldn't do anything, and they excluded us from the room. If you said a word, they threw you out of the court. Two of us remained in that trial from beginning to end. Usually three, but two for sure. So we know what they did and how they did it. And they did it by Article 7 amended, which is bogus. Now I got to explain that. The difference between de jure and de facto. De facto is we got to deal with it. There's no way around it. It's stupid play pretend to say that it's not there, but it is illegal or illegitimate. That's what de facto is. It is not de jure. De jure is constitutional, lawful, as it should be. So in November 2022, the provisional government on Oregon took back the de jure jurisdiction of land and soil for all of us. It's a representative form of government now, not democratic, not the rule of the Salem oligarchy. What I'm saying must be true because this is our 9th grand jury since 2018. And we're still holding grand juries? Do you think the de facto would like to shut us down if they could find a way? I think they would. But every time we bump up against them, they run and hide. So I was talking to a high-powered executive in the Republican Party for Oregon yesterday about all of this stuff. And while she would like to join us in our quest, she doesn't think it's a good idea from her position with the Republican Party. And she's probably right. But this has to get out somehow, some way. So we've chosen YouTube and our website and public television, 3 channels, I believe. And with William's help, we get this stuff out. So, what is the possibilities of what's coming at us on this one specific case? The top 3 guys in the Oregon Department of Corrections will be invited to an arraignment so that they will be aware of the charges being leveled at them. And we'll know that they received it because we'll have proof of service that they knew. They were notified today by me that we're going to have an arraignment and we're going to have a trial. And the trial will be an Article 3, Amendment 7, Civilian Common Law Court of Record. And that'll be for the 8th time. Now we've had 8 trials by an Article 3, Amendment 7 court with verdicts in the last 6 years. We're still here. We're still meeting in the grand jury. We're going to have the 8th Article 3, Amendment 7 trial. That's got to be worth something, don't you think? It seems like if you do this right, that they will come. So we're doing it right. Dotting all the I's and crossing the T's. If you have any questions, contact us, www.orsja.org. My name's Ron Vroman, and I yield.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, just shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.